Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Aspire to Inspire. I am so grateful to be interviewing Emmy Nominated actress, audition coach, self-tape specialist, Crystal Lee Brown. Along with being a dialogue and acting coach on Netflix, Crystal Lee Brown has landed roles on Showtime, HBO, ABC, and so much more. Her feature film credits include Warner Brothers' Judas and the Black Messiah, Tyler Perry's Nobody's Fool, Lionsgate, Uncle Drew, and 20th Century Fox Hidden Figures. I'm going to bring her onto our stage so you guys can get a glimpse of who she is and what she's about. Hi, it's so nice to meet you.
How are you? I'm good. How are you?
It's okay, but oh my gosh, what an honor and a privilege it is to be interviewing you today. Like I said earlier, it's one thing to watch someone on television and absolutely kill every role she plays, but it's another to finally meet you and to be interviewing you in person. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, of course. So we're going to just jump right into this interview without further ado. So, Crystal Lee Brown, do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. Well, I was born and raised in Philadelphia. On the playground is where I spent most of my days, right? I normally break out a song, but I won't. Born and raised in Philly. I'm a graduate of Temple University, where I went to school for sports journalism, public relations, and advertising. And I had a minor in theater, which then took me to New York City, where I was doing way off Broadway theater. And I took my talents, as the great athletes would say, to Los Angeles. And I've been here, it'll be 17 years this October, next month.
Wow, that's beautiful. Yeah. That's beautiful. And I love how you said you took your talent and went for the limit. You went all the way to LA and you stuck to it for 17 years. That's a beautiful accomplishment. Yeah. And it kind of leads me to my next question. You know, what led you to pursue acting as a profession? If you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, you know, I was always inspired by the arts as a child. I remember watching the Sunday matinee movies that used to come on television at like 3:00 in the afternoon on Sundays with my mom. So that was the first time I was able to watch movies that inspired me, which included Imitation of Life, It's a Mad World, The Bad Seed. These are old movies, but phenomenal films that just, you know, enthralled me and inspired me. First time I ever saw Meryl Streep act was in a 1984 movie called Silkwood. So I've just gravitated to the arts since then. And it was always a thing that I wanted to do. It was always a dream that I had in me. And I just never let it die.
I love that you talked about this was your dream and you never let it die. That's, you know, that's something that a lot of actors, I'm not going to say struggle with, but have that same passion, that dream, and to always pursue it, you know, as an actress myself. And for many viewers, that's a source of inspiration. So thank you so much for sharing that about yourself.
Sure.
Just to go a little bit deeper on the acting world and the misconceptions people can have about it. Mm-hmm. In your opinion, with you being in the game for so long and knowing so much about the craft and the business behind it, what do you believe is one of the major misconceptions people may have about the job of an actress or an actor?
That is easy. You know, so many people find themselves in this industry, and I'm primarily just speaking as an actor, seeing what we do and what other artists do on television and saying, I can do that. It's easy. And yes, that's not to negate that you can't do it, but it is work. It is a craft, like you mentioned. It takes time, it takes sacrifice, it takes blood, sweat, and tears, all of it, to really exercise your instrument. And that's what we're creating from, right? We're creating from our instrument. So yes, anyone could get a piece of paper and memorize something and spew it out, but are you truthfully storytelling, right? How do you really attach yourself to this character, to these circumstances, to truthfully and authentically storytell, to move people, to move an audience, right? To relay a message. So that takes work, and that just takes training. It takes training And I would never stop saying it takes training. I mean, listen, I work often, but I'm still in class. I'll be in class tomorrow at 3 p.m., right? I'm always in class because the business changes. There's always new approaches that an artist can take to their work. It's a journey, so you can never stop learning. You have to watch television, you have to watch movies, you have to study. So it's a never ending, thing that you have to do for your instrument to thrive and for you to support it.
Wow, you actually answered my next question. So you're well ahead of this. It's beautiful because a lot of people don't talk about the training that, I'm pretty sure like I like to call them this generation's best actors and actresses. We look up to them and we automatically assume that, wow, they're so good, they probably don't train. And that's completely false. And I love that you said, even though that I'm working, I'm still training at the same time. It's just as beneficial as it was in the beginning than it is now. So it's kind of cool because you're not just an actress. You're also a audition coach, specialist. Yes. So if you don't mind talking about a little bit about what you do with that, what do you offer with your students, how that works for you, I would love for you to explain your experience behind that.
Yes. So I own and operate iTape LA, which is a self-tape and audition coaching company in Los Angeles. We're also virtual, so you don't have to be in LA to work with me. And that was birthed out of just me being an actor who started to get a lot of self-tape auditions. So I've been doing this for 10 years before the pandemic, before, actors were now semi-thrust into this new world of self-taping their auditions because we're no longer allowed in the room. But I've been doing this for 10 years prior to the pandemic. And I saw that it was a need, I was doing it for myself. I was coaching and taping a lot of my other actor friends. And one day, one of my friends said, you really need to make this into something, because all of my friends were booking, right? They were growing as an artist. So it really became a place for artists to grow, to have fun, and to do the work without fear, right? Because I'm an actor on the other side of it, so I get it, right? So I was here just as a support for my fellow artists. So with that, 10 years later, iTape LA is booming. We have tons of clients who are literally on set today, working, booked and busy. Yes. So I'm grateful for that. So for me, it was a give back to my fellow artists and to the industry. And in terms of on set, my expertise has now translated on set as an on-set dialogue coach for multicam television with Netflix, where I'm now working with, phenomenal actors, name actors, Emmy nominated actors, and also learning, because again, you never stop learning. So you have to know this side of the camera, you as the subject in front, but it's imperative that you understand and educate yourself on the world behind it.
So true. So true. You talked about a lot within the business of acting and behind the scenes. That's just as beneficial as it is being in front of the camera. And to be educated on that side can take you further ahead than just understanding, hey, I recite these lines, I'll say them to you, that's it. Yes. You also mentioned about being a storyteller in a sense. And that also ties into the work of an actor, and that comes through training and working hard. And as a person who has researched about you and was able to interview you, iTape LA, it's fantastic. I have heard nothing but great reviews from you guys. I know a lot of friends of mine are a part of iTape LA. So y'all, this is a great resource right here. Definitely connect with her in regards to her classes and her auditioning tips and things along those lines. So.
And in addition to that, we do a class once a month called Booking Straight from Tape, because that's the actor's number one question. Like, well, now that we're self-taping, how do I now book from this medium, right? And it really doesn't, I mean, yes, we love to be in the room, but self-taping is a craft in itself. It's a technical craft. It's a technique that all actors need to have in their tool bag, right? So now the question becomes, how do I still masterfully show up in this space, in this frame, and tell this story as the producer, as the director, as the editor, as the lighting person, right? So what we're doing at home is generally what we see that happens behind the camera. So now you have to set up your lights. You have to self-direct yourself. You have to edit, right? All of those things. So once you get that down and you understand the technical part of it, and you've prepped and you've done your work and you're emotionally available and you understand story and you've created your relationship, now you can come in this space and you can be free to do what you do and take the pressure of the feeling of angst because you want to book a job, right? Or you want to work, or you haven't been able to work in so long, and take that part off of it and then just show up and play. And it's within the play that we see the work, that we see the talent. Let me not say we see the work, because you never want to spot the work, right? We see the talent, and we see you show up in a way that is taking pressure off of those who are watching you,
Of course.
and off yourself.
Yes. Oh, that was so beautiful. Oh my gosh. And there's actually a question that popped into my head. Just any word or piece of advice for actors who are just starting and don't understand the self-tape setup. I'm pretty sure during this time that we're in, everything being shut down and virtual, it can be very stressful for those who want to start and want to be a part of how this industry is always changing, forever changing. So what piece of advice do you have for actors who are just beginning out and to adapt to what's happening right now within the entertainment industry?
Yeah, listen, I am a student of YouTube University. I am a student of everything is at your fingertips, and whatever it is that you want to know, you can find out. So take advantage of the vast information that is out there. I self-taught myself a lot of this stuff. And I'm not talking about craft, right? I'm always in a class. I'm always studying. But even when I'm not in class, I'm reading books. I have an arsenal of acting books that I'm reading, that I read, that I pick up, that I finish, that I go back to, right? That I refer to. I have tons of composition books of notes over the last 20 plus years that I've taken from different tutors, different teachers, because sometimes you forget, and sometimes you have to constantly take things out of your tool bag to add more things, right? And try them on and see if they work for you, because everything doesn't work for every genre. It doesn't work for every circumstance. It doesn't work for every project, right? So you have to constantly play and subtract and add on. But yeah, in terms of self-taping, I mean, I would just say, look up everything. There is tons of videos online about how to set up, what's the best light, what's the best camera. You don't have to break the bank to do any of these things, right? But more importantly, it's about the work. It is about the work. You must do the work. You can't cut corners in this industry. Whatever it is that you want to do, right? You barely can cut corners in life, right? It'll catch up to you.
Amen.
So you have to fully show up, and you have to fully commit yourself to do the work. And if you don't know how to do the work, that's why class is imperative. That's why educating yourself is imperative. The library is the best resource ever in terms of picking up filmmaking books, acting for screen, Meisner technique, all the things that you can just do in this downtime, so that you're fully equipped, so that when things start to, give way a little bit, you're already prepared. That's the part of the work.
Well said. Overall, guys, do the work. The work is imperative. You cannot avoid the work. Do it. It will help you in the long run. Again, thank you so much for sharing that. A lot of people may not have understood that, but do the work.
Yes.
Let's transition into some of your film credits. You've worked on major shows, major feature films, such an amazing accomplishment, which is well deserved with your number of years of being in the business. Prior to getting a role, booking a role, so to say, what is your process of breaking down a role, or how do you tackle that head on?
Well, first, read everything. Everything that is provided, read it. If you get a script, read the script. um, and before I memorization should be your very last thing that you do, right? Because it's not about those words on the page. It is about the subtext. It is about everything that's not on the page. So never concern yourself with trying to memorize something so fast, right? You always want to look up the producers, the directors, people who are attached to it. What have they done? What type of work have they put out there already? Because then you can get a sense of tone and pace and, oh, okay, this producer, this director primarily works in comedy. So this may be a comedy role or a dramedy. But you have to research the project. You have to research everyone attached to it, even the actors. What type of work does the main actor typically do if you're not familiar with their work? And then, you just want to read it. You just want to read it over and over and over again. And as you read it, with each read, you put on a different perspective, right? You're just reading it for context. Then you're reading it from a different standpoint. Start asking yourself questions. Start identifying things in your personal life that you can identify with the character, within the world, within the circumstances. And your imagination is your number one asset as an actor. So coupling that with your research and doing your due diligence just on asking yourself, you have to wreck your brain with asking yourself so many questions, because the questions never stop. There's always a why. There's always a reason, right? And you have to get down to the bottom of that. And what I tend to find is that actors are afraid to bring themselves to a role, right? It's like, yeah, I want to do this, and this is cool, and this will be cool to play, but forget about themselves. And our work as an artist is about how our interpretation, right? They want to see you. They want to see the real Crystal Lee Brown. They want to see the real whoever is walking into this room. They don't want to see a carbon copy of you. So you have to know yourself to bring yourself fully to this work. And that's the work that wins awards and have you lean in and have you follow the journey of an actor. They're committed to authenticity and vulnerability and just bringing truth.
Wow. Sheesh. I feel like I'm in one of your classes right now. Jeez. But it's so amazing for you to share all these important things. And the importance of authenticity ties really well into the craft of acting and the performance-wise, authenticity. I'm 100% sure that people across the screen, people who are watching it, they can tell if something's authentic or not. And it's so easy because of this tiny screen that we look through, and the job of an actor, the camera is right there. So we see everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
the camera doesn't lie.
Yes, the camera does not lie. It does not. And you have to be authentic. So you have to share yourself. And I don't know, this question kind of popped into my head about roles and how, what type of roles we desire to play. So I ask you, Crystal, what is your dream role to play for television, film, whatever you desire? I'm pretty sure you have one.
Listen, I think we all want to play a superhero at one point in our life, right? Save the world. So yeah, action. I love action. I love superhero type roles.
Right.
But more importantly, roles that are impactful. Roles that speak to our community, that speaks to our culture, that speaks to stories that we may never hear, right? And everyone has a story, and everyone's story should be told, right? So as an artist, I want to give voice to those stories. I want to give voice to those women who don't have a voice, whose story is remarkable, or, against all odds, or whatever it is. They deserve to be seen because they're human beings, and there's triumph and glory and ups and downs in all of our stories. And I think flaws need to be celebrated on all platforms.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yes, I love that. And I ask this type of question because you truly never know. You really don't know. But for you to still have that dream, to still have that desire to play those type of roles, not just superhero roles, but roles with influence and that can make an impact to viewers and ignite a change or a different mindset. That's so crucial, especially within the industry that we are in. And for you to be a advocate for that, that's
Sure.
definitely going to it's going to grow in the future. So
Yeah.
yes, I totally see you as a superhero though. I love the hair. The hair is just like a leading lady in an action film.
Hey,
I see it. I
are
see.
you kidding me?
Yes, just putting it out there in the atmosphere, most definitely. But transitioning from the films and television shows you've been working on, I know you have learned oh so much from your experiences on set and your experiences working alongside A-lister actors and actresses. So, I ask you, in a sense, what were some of the major lessons you learned, whether that was being on set, whether that was with an audition you had and you wish you knew then and you know now? So if there's any piece of lesson that you learned, anything that could, touch the viewers in any way possible that you see fit, please feel free to share.
Yes. Well, number one, there is power in your no. And that is crucial in this industry. That's crucial in life, right? Especially for actors just starting out, you want to do everything. You want to do anything. Let me say that. Just to be seen or to get some footage or something, right? But please know that as powerful that as your yes is, your no is equally, if not more, powerful. So don't be afraid to exercise that. And I am an advocate for the no, because for me, I have a certain trajectory that I know my career is going, or the way I want to see my career growing, right? And going. So that path for me cannot waver, right? Will there be bumps in the roads and things may not go my way? Absolutely. But it's what I allow myself to do and what I allow myself to not do that's going to continue to keep me on that trajectory, right? So exercising that power and not being afraid to walk away from something, not being afraid to say no. Because I find that when that happens and you do that because you are standing by your own dreams, your own morals, or what have you, something 1,000 times greater comes knocking on the door right after. So, this industry, this world can put pressures and demands on people to agree to something, to do something that they may regret or they may not feel comfortable about. But start using your no, start exercising that right in all facets of life. And you'll see the rewards that you reap because of that. So that's just
Yeah. Oh man, to highlight the no's, the rejection.
Yeah.
It crosses through all aspects of life. We all experience failure, fear, the no's, the doubt. That all ties into this. And it's beautiful because it doesn't mainly affect actors and actresses within this industry. It affects us all. And for us to continue to persevere and to push through and to be consistent, like you said, the trajectory of your career is designed for you in that sense. So that even though you have a no right now, yes, like you said, is going to be 110 times greater.
Yes.
So listen, you're preaching right now. I felt that in my spirit to say that. So I agree with everything you're saying, 110%.
Yeah.
So trying to step away from the no's and the beautiful advice you just gave, let's talk about your source of inspiration. Who inspires you to continue and to grow in this path of acting, whether that be a actor and actress in our time right now that you look up to, whether that be family or friends? Who's your source of inspiration?
My daughter. I have a 10-year-old daughter, Sydney. She is phenomenal. And she's a budding star herself. She's booking and acting and watching me. So I do it for her, right? Because the other side of this is, why are you doing this? Who are you doing it for? We can't be selfish in this life, and we can't be selfish in this craft to say, oh, I'm just doing it for myself, right? We are always doing it for someone else. So for me, I'm doing it for my daughter. I do it for her. I do it for my family, right? So she inspires me every day, every single solitary day.
Oh, that is so beautiful. I love that. And to have that as your source of inspiration, listen, that will put you on overdrive all the time. I gotta do this for her. I got to. And hey, I'm not gonna lie. We all have people in our lives that is our source of inspiration. So for that, you to be your daughter, someone you love dearly, that is beautiful, truly beautiful. Yes. So my next following questions for you, I like to call them my futuristic dreamer type of questions. You can really dream big here. The sky's the limit. So Crystal Lee Brown, where do you desire to see yourself 5 to 10 years down the line, whether in front of the camera, behind the camera, whatever you may desire?
Yes, well, I have a lot of things on my 5 to 10 year list.
Please feel free to share. Yes.
Let's see. Definitely a series regular on a hit network television show that lasts 5 years or so. I also love directing as an acting coach. The way that I coach comes from more so of a director's perspective as well as an artist. So being behind the camera is on my list in terms of shadowing directors and directing something myself. So that's there. And I want to just continue to inspire actors and continue to give back and work with actors, because the more I work with actors, the more I learn as an actor, the more I grow as an actor. So it feeds my instrument just as well as me feeding into someone else. So those are my top three. Those are my top three. And to travel the world when it's time. Travel the world. I owe my daughter a trip to Sydney, Australia, because we were supposed to go to for her 10th birthday, but the pandemic. So that'll be our first stop.
Oh, I love it. You're dreaming big here. And that's what I love on this platform. You can dream as big as you want and desire as much as you want. I'm a huge believer in, speaking what you want out there. So for that to be already out there in the atmosphere for you, it will certainly come back in due time. And my next question for you, in a sense, is to conclude this interview, if you have anything you would like to share in regards to some exciting things you have going on. You mentioned iTape LA is still doing virtual classes. Anything you would like to mention or to share, this is your time to do so.
Oh, well, great. Let's see. Well, yes, definitely check out iTape LA. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We post our dates for our classes. Like I said, they're monthly, or we do private coaching sessions. So all of our information is up there. Tune into Showtime right now. I am on The Good Lord Bird starring Ethan Hawke. So that's still up. I'm in episode 2. I play Sabonia. It's phenomenal. Watch the whole show. And starting October 17th, check me out on Hightown on Stars season 2, where I recur as a recurring guest star as Janelle, and I come on in episode 4, which is November 7th. So look out for that.
Yes, guys, y'all hear how booked and busy she is? Oh my gosh, that is a blessing to have. That is a true, true blessing. Well, Crystal Lee Brown, thank you so much for joining me. I have one final question for you. I ask all of my guests this question. It's just to end things on a light note, to be a source of inspiration for people you come in contact with, whether that's via social media or in person or through this virtual world we have right now. So, Crystal Lee Brown, how do you desire to use your platform to inspire other people?
I desire to use my platform to aspire other people by letting you know that you are enough, that you control your destiny, that you live your life, that you follow your dreams. It starts with you. Don't put your dream in no one else's hands. Don't allow anyone or anything to take you off your path. So you wake up every day, you look at yourself in the mirror, and you say, I'm enough. I can do this. You are here for a purpose. We are all here for a purpose. So go after it, live it, dream big, and don't allow fear to stop you. Keep going and never quit.
Listen, y'all, you need to write a book. You truly need to write an inspiration book for actors. Listen, I don't have the correct words to say other than thank you.
You're
My
welcome.
heart is full of joy. I'm so grateful to have even graced your presence virtually. It's just as impactful as I know it will be in person, hopefully soon. But thank you so much for joining me on Aspire to Inspire. And
You're welcome.
for our viewers watching, thank you for tuning in to episode 38 or 39.
There's a round of
The
applause.
numbers are coming up. It's a very long journey, but a beautiful one. And I can't wait to see what happens or what's in store for this. Crystal Lee Brown, thank you so much for sharing. And until next time, bye, everyone. Thanks so much for watching.
Bye. Thank you so much.